Some sad news to report. Pawn Stars Rick Harrison's son Adam has died.
Pawn Stars wasn't just a show, it was a cultural phenomenon. Millions of fans tuned in every week to watch Rick, Corey, and Chumlee haggle over everything from Civil War relics to rare comic books. But while the cameras captured the deals, they missed something much bigger. Lawsuits, betrayals, shocking arrests, and family feuds that make daytime soap operas look tame. Today we're diving into the real story behind Pawn Stars. The good, the bad, and the downright messy. So stick around, because what happened off camera might just shock you more than any million-dollar pawn deal ever could. Story behind the pawn shop. Ever wondered how a simple pawn shop in Las Vegas turned into one of the most famous businesses on TV? Well, it wasn't luck. It was built on grit, street smarts, and a solid understanding of gold and silver. At the heart of it all was Richard "Old Man" Harrison, a no-nonsense, sharp-witted patriot who co-founded the gold and silver pawn shop. He wasn't just the guy in charge, he was the rock of the business. Sadly, his passing in 2018 wasn't just a personal loss for the family, it shook the very foundation of their empire. But let's rewind a bit. Rick Harrison, Old Man's son and the brain behind the shop's TV fame, always knew pawning was more than just buying and selling trinkets for quick cash. In the early days, things weren't glamorous. In fact, Rick often found himself lending out more money than he was actually making. Can you imagine running a business where every deal feels like a gamble? But Rick wasn't one to back down. He stuck with it, sharpened his expertise, and slowly earned the trust of customers and collectors alike. Then came the game changer, Pawn Stars. In 2009, the History Channel put Rick, his father, his son Corey, aka Big Hoss, and Corey's buddy Austin Chumlee Russell on the small screen, and the world got hooked. Why? Because every day at the pawn shop was like opening a treasure chest. One minute, someone's walking in with a rare comic book, and the next, there's an ancient Egyptian artifact on the counter. No 2 days were ever the same, and honestly, isn't that what makes a job exciting? But let's be real, half the fun of the show wasn't even about the items. It was the dynamic between the team. Rick's sharp comebacks, Old Man's deadpan humor, and Chumlee's goofy innocence created pure TV gold. Who didn't love watching Chumlee bumble his way through a deal while Rick facepalmed in the background? Of course, not everything glittered behind the scenes. As the cameras rolled and the fame skyrocketed, some darker business realities started creeping in. Fame, after all, has its price. Rick Harrison's legal battle with Mother. You know how they say, money and family don't mix well? Well, the Harrison family of Pawn Stars fame is living proof of that. It all started when Rick Harrison's mother, Joanne Harrison, filed a lawsuit against her own son over family assets and ownership of the gold and silver pawn shop. Yep, you heard that right. A mother suing her son. But wait, it gets even messier. The lawsuit, filed in a Nevada state court, doesn't just target Rick, it also names the pawn shop itself, several business entities, and even property holdings connected to the family. So what's the deal here? Well, according to Joanne's legal team, back in the early 2000s, after she had just woken up from a coma, yes, a coma, Rick allegedly had her sign away her 51% ownership of the pawn shop. The catch? Joanne claims she wasn't in the right state of mind to fully understand what she was agreeing to. Can you imagine waking up from something that traumatic and then being handed legal documents to sign? But the drama doesn't stop there. When Richard Harrison passed away, Joanne was supposed to inherit his 49% stake in the business. However, according to her, Rick failed to provide her with the full financial records of the pawn shop, leaving her in the dark about over $500,000 in cash and silver that Richard had reportedly set aside before his death. Now, here's where things heat up. Joanne's lawsuit isn't just asking for clarity, it's demanding an entire financial audit, unspecified damages, a ban on Rick using any funds tied to her assets, and even a trust to protect her share of the property. Basically, she wants Rick's financial hands tied until this mess is sorted out. But Rick isn't backing down. In an interview with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he called the allegations false and hinted that his mother, who's now 81, might be under the influence of people trying to manipulate her for their own gain. Who do you believe in a situation like this? a mother fighting for what she claims is rightfully hers, or a son defending himself against heavy accusations. And just when you think things can't get worse, the Daily Mail dropped another bombshell. In 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the gold and silver pawn shop, which usually rakes in over $1 million a year, reportedly made just $37,406. That's not even pocket change for a business of that scale. Talk about financial whiplash. Oh, and Joanne didn't stop with just the lawsuit. According to reports, Joanne filed a restraining order against her own son. Why? To stop him from selling or messing with the family's assets. But here's where it gets really sticky. Joanne claims Rick stopped sending her regular payments from Richard Harrison's share of the pawn shop. Apparently, she was getting a hefty $225,000 annually, but those payments came to a screeching halt in 2020. So what's a mother to do? Joanne turned to the courts not just to get her payments reinstated, but also to ensure Rick couldn't transfer, hide, or do anything shady with the family's money and property. And let's not forget, Joanne isn't just dealing with legal headaches. At 81, she's battling serious health issues that require 24/7 care, reportedly costing up to $115,000 a month. Yeah, you heard that right. That's more than most people make in a year. But here's the kicker. Rick didn't even find out about the restraining order directly from Joanne. Nope, he heard about it through the news. Can you imagine flipping through headlines one morning and finding out your own mom filed legal action against you? Awkward doesn't even begin to cover it. Rick claims he's tried to reach out to his mom multiple times over several months but hasn't been able to get through. According to him, this silence made it nearly impossible to sit down and work out a solution that could make everyone happy, or at least less angry. And while this mother-son standoff was playing out in court, it turns out this wasn't the only legal mess tied to the Harrison family or their inner circle. Makes you wonder, at what point does family business stop being about family and start being just business? Chumlee's legal troubles. Let's talk about Austin Chumlee Russell, the lovable, goofy guy from Pawn Stars who somehow always managed to make us laugh with his clueless charm. But off-screen, oh boy, his life has been more chaotic than a storage unit auction. Back in 2012, things took a wild turn. TMZ reported that Chumlee got into a full-on street brawl in Hollywood. We're talking fists flying, chaos, and then, poof, Chumlee fled the scene. The guy he fought with was left bruised, bloodied, and probably wondering what had just happened. But according to Chumlee, it wasn't his fault. He claimed it was self-defense, saying the guy had threatened to pull a gun on him and his friends. Can you imagine? One minute you're hanging out with your buddies, and the next, it's turning into an action movie scene. Chumlee told TMZ the guy just wanted to hitch a ride in their car and cause problems. Maybe he was telling the truth, maybe not, but either way, he dodged a pretty serious bullet that night. But hold on, because this was just chapter 1 of the saga. Fast forward to 2016, and things got a lot messier. According to the Chicago Tribune, Chumlee was arrested after his house was raided by the police. The reason? A sexual assault investigation. Now, while he wasn't officially charged with any sex crimes, what the police did find in his house was enough to make headlines for weeks. Meth, marijuana, a stash of prescription pills like Xanax, and, wait for it, 12 guns. And 8 of those weren't even registered. It was like an episode of Breaking Bad met Pawn Stars. At this point, fans started asking the obvious question, how did we get here? How did the goofy sidekick from a pawn shop reality show end up facing 20 felony charges? And more importantly, how was he going to get out of it? When the dust settled, the sexual assault allegations were dropped. But Chumlee wasn't off the hook, not by a long shot. With all the evidence piled up against him from the raid, he knew he couldn't just walk away scot-free. So what did he do? He struck a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to a felony weapons charge for unlawfully possessing a firearm and a gross misdemeanor for attempted drug possession. Basically, he avoided serious prison time, but his reputation, that was already pretty battered. And here's where things get interesting. Did Chumlee learn his lesson? Was this just a messy chapter in his life or a sign of deeper issues? Fans were split. Some defended him, saying everyone makes mistakes. Others weren't so forgiving. After all, this wasn't just one little slip-up, it was a laundry list of illegal activity. But here's something else to think about. How did all this drama affect Pawn Stars itself? When one of your main cast members is plastered all over the news for drugs, guns, and serious accusations, it's bound to leave a mark on the show's credibility. Did Rick and Corey feel the weight of Chumlee's actions? Did fans start seeing Chumlee differently every time he cracked a joke on screen? The thing is, scandals like these are rarely isolated. They have ripple effects, not just on the person involved, but on everyone around them. And in the case of Pawn Stars, Chumlee's legal mess was just one piece of a much larger puzzle of controversies. Corey Harrison's wild night and personal troubles. Corey Big Hoss Harrison, Rick's son and the guy who's always had his eye on taking over the gold and silver pawn shop, has had his fair share of eyebrow-raising moments. For someone who's supposed to inherit a business empire, he sure knows how to stir up headlines, just not always for the best reasons. One of his most infamous moments went down during a motorcycle tour stop in Jefferson City. Now, a little partying on a road trip isn't exactly shocking, but Corey apparently went way overboard. After what witnesses described as a week-long drinking spree, he decided it was a good idea to urinate in public and then, for reasons unknown, threw a bar stool across the room at spectators' bar. Yeah, not exactly the behavior of a future CEO. Naturally, he was kicked out, and the story spread faster than wildfire. To his credit, Corey later issued a public apology and admitted he'd messed up. But here's a question. How do you bounce back from something that public? Well, Corey tried to smooth things over, flashing his signature charm and focusing on the family business. But trouble seemed to have him on speed dial. In 2021, Corey's name was back in the headlines, and this time it was about an RV. According to TMZ, Corey rented an RV for a little getaway in the California desert in 2020. Simple enough, right? Wrong. The RV's owner, William Villafana, claimed Corey didn't return the vehicle on the agreed date. And when his assistant finally reached out, it was with some pretty bad news. They'd been in an accident and the RV was going to be towed back. But here's the kicker. It took 2 more days for the wrecked vehicle to actually make it back. By then, it was apparently in such bad shape that the owner had every reason to be furious. So Corey rented an RV for a little desert escape. But according to the vehicle's owner, William Villafana, it didn't exactly come back in road trip ready condition. We're talking a ripped-off awning, an interior that looked like a frat party aftermath, empty bottles, broken eggs, and who knows what else scattered around. Honestly, it sounds less like a vacation and more like a chaotic road movie gone wrong. Villafana estimated the damage would cost around $30,000 to fix. But the mess didn't stop there. Because the RV was out of commission, Villafana claimed he had to cancel 10 reservations. That's a lot of missed income. And when Corey allegedly refused to pay up, Villafana took the whole thing to the police. In response, Corey's team tried to smooth things over, saying the RV had mechanical issues, the pop-outs wouldn't retract, and it wasn't drivable. According to them, Corey did the responsible thing and had it towed back to Las Vegas, letting insurance handle the rest. Simple explanation, right? But whether or not the full story was told, Corey's public image definitely took another hit. And honestly, legal headaches weren't even the biggest thing Corey was dealing with. Behind the scenes, he was fighting a personal battle with his health. His weight had reached dangerous levels, and in 2010, he made the life-changing decision to undergo gastric bypass surgery. The result? Corey lost over 100 pounds. But weight loss isn't some magic fix. The pressure of fame, the demands of running a high-profile family business, and just trying to keep his life together. Those challenges didn't disappear with the weight. Still, there was one silver lining, his friendship with Chumlee. Inspired by Corey's transformation, Chumlee decided to start his own weight loss journey. Scandal shook the show's credibility. Ever wondered what happens behind the scenes of Pawn Stars? Sure, Rick, Corey, and Chumlee were the main faces, cracking deals and dropping historical trivia like seasoned pros. But the magic of the show wasn't just in their banter or clever one-liners, it was also in the hands of the experts. These specialists would stroll in, drop knowledge bombs about everything from ancient coins to autographed movie posters, and leave viewers in awe. They weren't just there for credibility, they became mini celebrities in their own right. But here's the twist. Not all of them managed to keep their shiny reputations intact. Take Johnny Jimenez Jr., for example. He was the go-to guy for vintage toys, a real authority in his niche. But in 2015, Johnny found himself in a pretty messy situation. According to TMZ, he was caught on camera in a heated confrontation with his girlfriend outside a Las Vegas restaurant. And we're not talking about a minor disagreement. This was serious stuff. Johnny defended himself, claiming he was simply trying to help his intoxicated girlfriend after a wild night out. But the damage was done. His reputation took a hit, and fans started questioning whether the experts on porn stars were as polished as they appeared. But Johnny wasn't the only expert to trip up. John Resnikoff, the autograph guru, found himself in an embarrassing spot back in 2011. He was asked to authenticate a signature on a script from The Godfather. Seems straightforward, right? Not exactly. Resnikoff confidently declared the signature belonged to Al Pacino. The twist? It was actually signed by the film's producer Al Ruddy. While it might sound like a tiny mistake, it raised eyebrows. If a so-called expert could miss something like that, what else had slipped through the cracks? How many authentic signatures on the show might be fakes? And then came the real scandal, the one that truly shook the show's credibility. Drew Max, a sports memorabilia expert, got himself tangled up in a fraud scandal in 2015. Turns out he had authenticated fake sports items that were later sold at auctions. And we're not talking about Little League trophies here. These were expensive, high-stakes deals. When buyers realized they'd been scammed, they didn't just get mad, they filed lawsuits. Drew Max was accused of using his TV fame to inflate his reputation and pass off counterfeit goods as the real deal. Now here's the thing. Mistakes happen. Everyone slips up now and then. But when those mistakes cost people thousands, or even millions, of dollars, forgiveness isn't exactly easy to come by. Drew's reputation crumbled, and the backlash didn't stop with him. Fans started side-eyeing every appraisal on porn stars, wondering how many other expert opinions were actually worth trusting. So what happens when your credibility takes hit after hit? You pivot. As these controversies piled up, porn stars began shifting away from its original focus on detailed appraisals and expert opinions. At first, porn stars was like striking gold on TV. It wasn't just about buying and selling old stuff. It was a mix of history lessons, unexpected treasures, and the fun banter between Rick, Corey, and Chumlee. One day, someone might walk in with a Civil War artifact, and the next, it'd be a signed Michael Jordan jersey. The unpredictability kept people hooked, but somewhere along the way, the shine started to fade. Reports began to surface that the random customers were pre-selected, and the jaw-dropping appraisals. Yeah, those were often worked out ahead of time. Suddenly, what felt spontaneous and genuine started feeling, well, staged. The friendly bickering between the crew went from light-hearted to overly dramatic, almost like someone was holding up cue cards behind the camera saying, "Fight now." Fans noticed, and they weren't happy. People who had originally tuned in to hear fascinating stories behind rare items started feeling like they were watching a scripted reality show. At times, it felt less like porn stars and more like a Vegas version of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Even the cast started to feel more like characters than real people. Rick became the gruff, no-nonsense dealmaker, Corey the distracted heir who couldn't quite focus, and Chumlee, once the lovable comic relief, became harder to root for after his legal troubles. But the struggles didn't stop with the show. Rick tried to ride the wave of porn stars' success by opening Porn Plaza, a retail center near the famous pawn shop. On paper, it seemed like a solid plan, capitalize on the shop's popularity and turn those fans into customers. But reality had other plans. The plaza quickly turned into a ghost town. Shops closed one after another, and restaurant owners complained that Rick didn't do enough to promote the area. They'd hoped the porn star's name would automatically bring in foot traffic, but the crowds never came. Lawsuits started piling up, and the dream of expanding the porn star's empire turned into a financial headache. So here's the big question. How do you turn millions of viewers into paying customers? Clearly, slapping a famous name on a building wasn't enough. And while Rick was battling lawsuits and business flops, there were still skeletons in the closet waiting to tumble out, secrets from the past that would only add more fuel to the fire. Olivia Black's axing over nude modeling. Is it really fair to judge someone's past when it doesn't affect their job performance? That's the question fans were asking when porn stars abruptly let go of Olivia Black, a former employee who joined the shop in 2012. Olivia wasn't your typical pawn shop worker. She had an edgy style, bold tattoos, and a personality that immediately clicked with viewers. Fans loved her, but then out of nowhere, she disappeared from the show. No explanation, no farewell, just gone. Naturally, people started asking questions. Eventually, the truth came out. Olivia had posed for some nude photos before she ever joined the show, and those pictures had surfaced online. That revelation led to her sudden firing. Cue the outrage. Fans were quick to call out the producers, accusing them of being unfair and even sexist for punishing her for something that had no bearing on her role at the shop. After all, Olivia was good at her job, and viewers enjoyed watching her interact with customers. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite being shown the door, Olivia didn't fade into obscurity. She kept a strong fan base, continued working in the porn industry off-screen, and leaned into her modeling and adult entertainment career. Instead of hiding from the scandal, she owned her story and kept moving forward. Olivia even took legal action against the show, claiming her firing was unlawful. But in the end, the case was dropped, and she chose to focus on her modeling and other ventures instead. Stolen coin collection, melting mystery. How much trust do you put in a pawn shop when it comes to handling rare and valuable items? Well, in 2014, porn stars found themselves in some seriously hot water over a stolen coin collection, and let's just say it wasn't a good look. According to reports, David Walters accused his niece, Jennifer Beckman, of stealing his antique coin collection in 2013. Instead of returning the collection, Beckman allegedly took the coins straight to the gold and silver pawn shop and walked out with $2,375 in cash. Now here's the kicker. Walters claimed the collection wasn't just pocket change. According to him, those coins were worth closer to $50,000. As soon as Walters realized what had happened, he went straight to the police. But by the time law enforcement contacted the pawn shop, the coins were already gone. Were they sold? Melted down? Sitting in a bucket somewhere? No one could say for sure. A spokesperson for the pawn shop told Fox News that because coins are often unidentifiable, they might have already been melted down or mixed in with other coins waiting to be evaluated. But here's where things get messy. The pawn shop stood firm, insisting they hadn't done anything wrong. According to their rep, the coins weren't nearly as valuable as Walters claimed, and the transaction followed standard protocol. They were saying, "We bought some coins, we followed the rules, and we didn't know they were stolen. So whose side do you take here? Was the pawn shop just caught in the middle of a family dispute? Or should they have been more careful when accepting such a valuable collection? And seriously, if you had a coin collection worth $50,000, would you ever let it out of your sight? Either way, this legal scuffle was yet another headline for porn stars, and a reminder that when money and family mix, things can get complicated fast. End of porn stars. Can a reality show maintain its buzz forever, or does the shine eventually fade? For porn stars, that wave lasted well over a decade, a rare achievement in the world of TV. Even with scandals, lawsuits, and family drama swirling around, the show managed to keep rolling. But let's be honest, by the time the 21st season came around, something felt off. The early charm, those spontaneous interactions, the excitement of discovering rare historical treasures, and the unpredictable negotiations had started to wear thin. Instead, it felt like the focus had shifted to scripted drama and manufactured arguments. And guess what? Fans noticed. Viewership took a dip, and suddenly, Porn Stars wasn't the powerhouse it once was. But Rick Harrison, being the sharp businessman he is, didn't put all his eggs in one basket. While the pawn shop remained his bread and butter, Rick started branching out into other ventures, including real estate. Sure, Pawn Plaza wasn't the hit he hoped it would be, but Rick made sure the gold and silver pawn shop remained a must-visit landmark in Las Vegas. So what about the future of the show? Well, no official word has been given about whether porn stars will continue or fade into TV history. But one thing's for sure, it's not the cultural force it once was. The cast has faced personal struggles, public controversies, and enough legal drama to fill its own courtroom series. Still, love it or hate it, porn stars changed the landscape of reality TV. It made history cool, turned a pawn shop into an international attraction, and gave us characters we won't soon forget. So here's the real question. Is there still room for porn stars in today's world of streaming giants and endless content choices? Or is it time for Rick, Corey, and Chumlee to finally hang up their price tags and close this chapter? Legacy tainted by scandal, yet still iconic. There's no denying it. Porn Stars wasn't just another reality TV show, it was a cultural phenomenon. Who would have thought a pawn shop in Las Vegas could turn into a global brand, attracting tourists from around the world and pulling in millions of viewers every week? From dusty antiques to quirky collectibles, every item brought into the shop carried a story, and every deal kept us hooked. At its core, Pawn Stars wasn't just about buying and selling, it was about history, negotiation, and the charm of everyday people trying to make a buck or a fortune. Rick's sharp eye, Corey's ambition, and Chumlee's lovable goofiness made for the perfect recipe. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. The rise of Pawn Stars was meteoric, but its fall? That was more of a slow fade. Scandals, lawsuits, family drama, and questionable appraisals started to chip away at the show's once untouchable reputation. What started as a genuine look into the world of pawning began to feel overly scripted and staged. Fans noticed, ratings dipped, and the magic that once made the show so special started to fade. But here's the thing, Pawn Stars isn't just a TV show, it's a time capsule. It captured the highs and lows of running a family business under the blinding lights of fame and the relentless pressure of public scrutiny. It gave us fascinating lessons about history and every now and then a heartwarming moment that reminded us why we tuned in week after week. So, will Pawn Stars ever return to its former glory? Probably not. But does it need to? Its legacy is already cemented. It showed us how an ordinary pawn shop could become an extraordinary cultural icon. If nothing else, Pawn Stars serves as both an inspiring success story and a cautionary tale. Fame is a double-edged sword. It can turn your world golden, but it can also leave a few scars along the way. If you appreciated today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for spending time with us today, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care, everyone.